Earlier this year, we saw Hurricane Ida travel all the way from New Orleans up to the Northeast, causing devastating damage to cities and towns with infrastructure unprepared for that onslaught of rain. But extreme weather made worse by climate change can impact every city, not just the ones on the coast. And Chicago is one city now facing the consequences of extreme weather, including the threat of rising waters from Lake Michigan. ABC's Alex Perez reports tonight from the Windy City.
Chicago, the gem of the Great Lakes, now being tested like never before by the unprecedented impacts of climate change. Angry storms drenching that famous skyline, more and more extreme weather pounding the Windy City like this destructive flash flooding last year. Or this record-high flooding back in 2013, snarling traffic, turning basements into swimming pools, swallowing even the earth in some places, and raising Lake Michigan to levels never imagined. Those directly in the path of these sometimes destructive waves find themselves confronting a stark realization: the climate is harder to predict, and the adored shoreline in some areas is vanishing.
Sometimes where we're standing, you have water.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This, as I said, this was our patio. This was all grass.
Jer Slaughter lives here on the south side of Chicago, overlooking the city's famed Lakeshore Drive. Believe it or not, her backyard here used to be a 25-foot-long beach.
Some people talk about, climate change is this theory, it's in books, but is this climate change in action?
Oh, baby, you better know it is. It absolutely it is.
Chicago was built on swampland, early residents elevating the city to build and stay dry. But the changing climate is putting that foundation to the test, creating serious problems. The ground beneath them, the shoreline, all slowly eroding, in some areas disappearing.
If you look to the north of us, that was our beach, and 25 feet of sandy beach. And now it's about to hit our parking lot.
That's all underwater now.
It's all underwater.
The beach is underwater.
The beach is completely underwater.
University of Chicago environmental economist Amir Gina notes the effects of climate change, including more frequent, heavy rainstorms and more stifling heat, are as much a threat in the middle of the country as they are on the coast.
When it does rain, it's getting more intense. And I think in terms of the impacts of that, it's straining the aging infrastructure of the city. A city that was built to not deal with these really intense bursts of rainfall is suddenly having to deal with, a few days worth of rainfall falling in an hour. And what does that do to the sewers? What does that do to people's basements?
These once-in-a-100-year events are now happening more frequently, not only threatening lives, but also straining local governments and budgets.
It's a very expensive problem to deal with, to try and, to some extent, rebuild the city.
The city has been playing catch-up and is trying to repair some of this damage, but because of the long-term changes to Chicago's weather landscape, the city's engineers say Chicago's infrastructure must adapt.
It appears that things are changing and the climate is changing, and we're looking towards evaluating that, predicting what the extremes will be in the future so that we can prepare for those conditions and design resilient structures.
Millions are already being spent to climate-proof some of Chicago's existing infrastructure and massive expansions to these sewage systems.
The reservoir here, the world's largest, officials say. Now, I want you to take a look behind me here. This is the older portion, and if you look way on this side, this is the newer portion they're still working on. Once combined, the massive hole could fit up to 22 Soldier Field stadiums and hold some 10 billion gallons of water.
These quarries are the last line of defense for Chicago's sewers to help manage rain runoff.
And just recently, it was all the way up at the very top there, you said,
Yes,
right?
it was just all the way up just a couple days ago.
Kevin Fitzpatrick is the assistant director at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, the organization charged with the Herculean task of keeping drinking water clean, treating sewage, and making sure the city doesn't end up underwater. Just 1 inch of rainfall leads to about 16 billion gallons of water.
Those sewers have finite capacity and weren't designed to handle some of the storms that we're seeing today.
He says these tunnels and expansions are expensive, take years to build, and are not a long-term solution.
And the goalpost is moving. We need to to always be prepared for what could be coming.
And what could be coming are more drenching storms.
May 17th, 2020, it went to a level we never expected to see.
Tyrone Valley is lockmaster at the Chicago Harbor Lock, which controls how much water moves between the Chicago River and Lake Michigan. These gates are key to keeping floodwaters out of Chicago during heavy rain. For now, he trusts the system to work as intended, despite climate change.
I have trust in our system. I have trust in the McCook quarry, and I know what we can do here.
But others who've come face to face with climate change aren't so optimistic.
It is worrisome to us. As it is, we spent this gravel and all the stuff that you see in preparing to ward off the storms cost us over $500,000. That was money that was earmarked for repairs to the building.
Back in Slaughter's neighborhood here on Chicago's South Side, the fight is already at their doorstep.
It's a battle, it seems
It
like.
is a battle. That's exactly what you can call it. It is a battle. Us against Mother Nature.
Alex Perez, ABC News, Chicago.
Our thanks to Alex Perez for us from Chicago.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.